I would like to quickly review the information you were given at check-in before we hear from President Jones. In the staple packet, you will find first a student government flyer. All full-time students are eligible to join, and meetings are Monday, April 15th, in a tally 206-207. This is a great leadership opportunity to become involved on campus and provide service to the university and to the community. You will also find university housing information. There are still spaces available both on campus and at Vulcan Village for upperclassmen. University housing is absolutely the best value for student housing compared to off-campus. If you've never seen inside our residence halls or our apartments at Vulcan Village, stop at the housing office on campus in Residence Hall B or at Vulcan Village for more information and to get a tour. Vulcan Village Leadership Living, Learning, Community Flyer. This is a new initiative and a wonderful opportunity to gain leadership experience in a living, learning environment where you live in a building at Vulcan Village that will house only those that are enrolled in this leadership program. If you're interested in learning about the benefits of being a housing community assistant, you should attend one of these sessions on the Housing Community Assistant Information Flyer. You also have a dining flyer. This gives you information on some of the recent changes that ADI has made to the Student Center dining services. There is also a Counseling Center brochure. This is a reminder that our Counseling Center services are free, and our counselors can assist you with many things, including test anxiety, time management, stress, drug and alcohol counseling, and much more. The University Forum Nominations Flyer. Being a part of the forum is a leadership opportunity to be involved in the university governance. There is also a flyer for the Distinguished Service Award and Who's Who nominations. The Distinguished Service Award is the oldest award given to outstanding students at California University. The deadline for nominations is February 28th. Please see the blue flyer for the qualifications. Who's Who is a national organization that recognizes scholarship and leadership in our colleges and universities. That nomination deadline is also February 28th, and that is the yellow flyer. And finally, you will see a senior gift drive flyer. The senior gift drive works every year to raise money for scholarships for students. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce and welcome President Geraldine Jones. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. And good morning. And thank you all for being here today. There's a nice group of students here, so I'm very quite pleased to see that. And after speaking with your student government president, Alexandra Brooks, I will provide you a State of the University address. And we'll update you on the various topics, including an update on the primary objectives for 2012-13, and an update of 2012-13 budget, and some general news and information that I would also like to share with you. Let's see. Who is going to advance this? Okay, Joe, okay. Joe, okay. All right, let's see. Okay, you're going to stand here while I'm advancing? Oh. All right, then I'm going to turn this a little bit. You're a way to give you some space and to also give me some. Okay? We can adjust to make this work. Okay. You're good? Okay. And regarding the primary objectives, I had mentioned in my earlier weekly messages to you and to the rest of the community that I wanted to have an open atmosphere of communication. The weekly messages that I shared with the university community last fall will continue for the spring semester. As well, last semester I held a campus talk right here in this same room where students were invited to ask me questions and to discuss items of interest and concern. I will hold another such event later this semester. Once the date is confirmed, you will be notified, and I would ask that you please come back and join at that time as well. In an effort to keep open lines of communication with the faculty, the individuals with whom you as the students interact mostly with, Dr. Michael Slavin, the AFSCA president, and Provost Barnhart and I have met a number of times in an effort to discuss academic goals and issues. As I've noted many times, our core mission must be the education of you, our students, which means giving you the best academic experience possible, as well as ensuring that you will graduate in 4 years. In order to get the classes you need, in order to progress on a timely path toward graduation, the provost and I agreed that we needed to work on the faculty-student FTE ratio. Simply put, to increase the number of courses so that we can offer the classes that are needed. In order to accomplish this, we needed to find other cuts in our budget. But once again, our core mission must be preserved. So we tried to bring some balance back to faculty-student FTE ratio. We have been working diligently on stabilizing our enrollment, which means tuition dollars, our greatest revenue stream. Under the direction of Provost Barnhart and Dr. Bill Edmonds, we adjusted our admissions criteria for our entering freshmen. As we took a long look at this situation, Dr. Edmonds felt very strongly that a student's admission to this university should not be based on just 4 hours out of a student's academic career. Therefore, we will not only rely solely on SAT scores, but we will also take into consideration a student's grade point average, high school curriculum, class rank, and a personal essay. Our academic standards are not being lowered. It simply means that we will consider more than one major for admission. Admissions has also implemented outreach initiatives for articulation and transfer evaluation, new initiatives for the Welcome Center, and the college-specific open house programs for the spring semester. As well, Dr. Dan Engstrom and his staff at the Office of Student Retention and Success have worked incredibly hard to serve our students with registration, scheduling, and other tasks. The 4-year graduation plan is an important aspect of you graduating on time, and Dr. Engstrom and his team are focusing on this initiative as well. You may have heard many comments about our budget, cost-cutting measures, and other financial measures. We must achieve financial solvency, which basically means that we will not spend more than we have generated in revenue. We are determined to end the fiscal year without a deficit. And we will go to the next slide so that I may report on that progress. In August of 2012, I reported that the deficit was $4.2 million. Today, we are at $2.9 million. As noted earlier, we are still working on erasing this deficit before the end of this fiscal year. In the midst of our budget cuts, we felt there was an absolute need to add approximately $1 million in discretionary allocations back to the academic area, an area that has been hit hard in recent years, an area that directly impacts our students, our student services to you. In order to support our core mission of educating students, we were able to reallocate this $1 million from utility savings due to a mild winter and various personnel savings from position vacancies due to retirements, resignations, etc. Even with this additional $1 million to the academic side of the house, we were able to reduce our deficit to $2.9 million. On to university news. I'd like to talk a little bit about the campus climate survey. As you were coming in and I was walking in, I know Brenda Fesco was there and she was handing you out information saying, if you've not filled out the survey, please do so. I'm asking the same thing. As all of us are aware, A welcoming and inclusive climate is grounded in respect, nurtured by dialogue, and evidenced by a pattern of civil interaction. The first step in creating such an environment is to assess the current climate in order to identify important issues, and then to create ways for the university to address them. Please take a few minutes to help us understand the current climate at CalU. The CalU Campus Climate Survey is designed to provide information about both positive and challenging aspects of our climate. This survey is your opportunity to describe your own personal experiences. Share your observations and offer suggestions for change that might enhance the climate. The data will be used to identify strategies for addressing potential challenges and supporting positive diversity issues. Please take the 20 to 30 minutes needed to answer questions by going to the university website, www.calu.edu, where you will find information and a link to the survey. Or just click on the link provided in the email that have been forwarded to you over the past few weeks. I wanted to make you aware of two important initiatives in the academic affairs area. The first is a new academic program at the Everly College of Science and Technology, the BS in Mechatronics, which is slated to begin with the start of the fall 2013 semester. The Office of Admissions is actively recruiting for this program, and a search is well underway to select a faculty member to lead this program. The program will eventually be housed in Cooper Hall following the renovation. We are actively seeking partnerships for the program within industry for appropriate internships and other support. And as well, we are working with community colleges and career centers for articulation purposes. Another critical need is one of our academic programs is the Morgan TV studio renovation. The studio is used by many of our students in the communication studies area. So it was very important for us to renovate and update these facilities. Work has been underway on this project since the end of last semester. This project is a complete renovation with equipment replacement, remodeled TV studio, new universal news setting, an updated control room, an audio performance recording and editing room, and a digital and video editing room, asbestos abatement, and updated sound isolation. Two important searches are currently underway in the area of administration and finance: the Director of Human Resources and the University Police Chief. We hope to have these two new employees in the next couple of months. The Police Chief position is one that deals regularly with student leaders and student affairs staff, and this individual is critical to ensure safety for our students and our campus. From time to time, you may have heard comments regarding the university's bond financing debt, particularly as it concerns the Convocation Center. The bond debt service is what we owe when bonds are sold in order to finance new buildings, renovations, specific initiatives, etc. Our total bond debt is over $95 million, and that figure does not include the addition and renovation to the Natali Student Center, because those bonds have yet been issued. That will come sometime around July 1st of this year. This debt also does not include the residence halls, since that debt is on the SAI side of the house. These bonds are paid over a period of time, usually 25 years. In order to pay for these bonds, the university must take funds from our budget. The next slide will indicate what we pay each year on our debt service. As you can see, we have some debt educational and general budget, and which includes classroom and academic building improvements, improvements to university properties, special initiatives. The auxiliary obligations are for those projects which furnish goods and/or services to the users, such as food service, Heron Recreation Center, the parking garage, and the Natalie Student Center. The auxiliary debt must be collected from the users, be it students, faculty, and or staff. So therefore, fees are then charged to those particular users. Both these debt obligations, E&G and auxiliary, total over $8.5 million annually. This kind of debt is referred to as a mandatory debt. When I became acting president, the bond debt service was brought to my attention. And I won't lie, these numbers floored me. We are talking about a great deal of debt here. Our annual budget is approximately $120 million, and 70% of the budget is taken up by personnel costs, and 20% to mandatory costs, which includes this bond debt, utilities, and other fixed costs. And we have 10% remaining for discretionary funds, which is not a lot of money when we have so many needs. But the bottom line is that we incur the debt and we must pay our obligations. So when you hear about our bond debt, I hope this information is helpful in understanding what is involved in this kind of debt. The Student Affairs area has been working on a concept designed to assist with the distribution of dining service options available to our students and the campus community during the Natalie Student Center renovation. And they have decided on a food truck concept. The food truck will feature a Southern Fusion style barbecue concept to be launched mid-spring of 2013. Hopefully as soon as the weather starts to warm up. The plan for this food truck is to be available at a location near Azorski, and the exact location will be announced soon. In our marketing and university relations area, our recruiting efforts must include some advertising, an area in which we have cut back over recent years. But advertising is, as you know, very expensive. In an effort to have some exposure in the market, Vice President Craig Butzing and his staff have been working on select advertising spots. Even though the Steelers missed the playoffs this year, Kalamazoo did not. We were able to negotiate favorable rates for advertising in several key NFL playoff games. As well, we were able to receive favorable rates during high-profile shows such as American Idol and the Pittsburgh Penguins' first game of the season in Philadelphia. A change you may have noticed is that some image advertising has been converted to direct spring open house advertising. The Liberty Bridge outdoor board and the Penguins program ad in Ice Time are two examples of this conversion. We know the more prospective students who visit our campus, the better chance we have of converting these students to Cal U students. And now that the Pittsburgh Penguins season is back on track, so is our partnership with them. Due to the shortened season, many of the elements of the advertising package have been bonused or beefed up to provide even more advertising exposure for Cal U. The University Development and Cal U for Life area continues its efforts to raise funds for the capital campaign. I am pleased to report that as of December 31st, 2012, the campaign stands at $32.9 million toward our $35 million goal. Of this $32.9 million, $21.2 million, or 64%, has has been designated by our donors for scholarships, and $11.7 million, or 36%, has been designated by our donors for university needs, such as internships and programmatic needs. Of the $32.9 million raised, $25.3 million has already been received, with $1.6 million in pledges and $6 million in deferred planned gifts. As well, the University Development and Cal U for Life area has also been working on a new initiative, the Alumni Vulcan Recruiter Program, where alumni will assist in recommending prospective students and work with admissions to assist us as volunteers at college fairs. The class of 2012 raised over $11,700, which is the largest amount raised by a class to date in the 3 years since we first initiated the Cal U for Life philosophy. The University Development Area is also launching a new corporate program, Corporate Alumni Partners Program, in which we recognize our partnerships with corporations where our alumni work, where they provide internship opportunities and support scholarships. The inaugural launch of this program will begin with U.S. Steel, where approximately 75 of our alumni work. An event is scheduled in March to recognize our partnership with U.S. Steel. The University Technology Services area has been working to provide Adobe access to all faculty, staff, and students. Adobe is one of the leading software packages, and providing access to our students gives them hands-on experience, which in turn prepares you, the students, better for the workforce. In addition, implementing Adobe as a standard across the university provides a consistent user experience for you, the students. This same package will be loaded on all university PCs, so a student using Adobe in one class will use the same application in other classes and labs. By deploying Adobe university-wide, we were able to take advantage of a Poshy-wide strategic purchasing initiative. The cost of rolling out Adobe university-wide is slightly more than the individual licenses we were purchasing while providing access to a much broader user base. An additional benefit was realized with the Adobe and Windows 7 rollouts, when we identified a number of PCs that are unable to support these newer application and operating systems. With this and other information, we are developing a solution to address this, as well as a desktop life cycle management strategy to prevent situations like this from occurring. October 2nd of 2012 marked my first student convocation as acting president. Today I'm in my ninth month in this role. I'm very optimistic. I was very optimistic on October 2nd that we could conquer the many challenges before us. And I still feel that way today, even though some of the challenges, such as our budget deficit and decreasing enrollment, still remain. But we have made great strides over these past few months in getting back to our core mission, the education of you, our students. I wish I could say to you that the challenges are over, but they are not. And I know that these challenges may also perhaps cause you moments of anxiety, particularly when we appear to be in the newspapers and people seem to be taking shots at us. Please know that I, along with the administrators, faculty and members, and staff members, care about you, care about the quality of the education you receive here at Cal U, and care about your future. I have said this before, and I will continue to say this into There is nothing more important that we do here than our core mission, the education of our students. Everything we do here at Cal U must be focused on that important core mission. And we will continue to work diligently for you in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, President Jones. Now it's time for your questions. Please, if you have a question, come to the microphone in the center of the room. Thank you.
I have a question that is on my mind, and it may seem trivial, but my name is Casey Flores, and I'm wondering if the food truck, if we'll be able to use our meals, you know, like the meals and the meal plans. That's kind of important to us, and so I'd like to know that.
Yes, and if you don't mind, while I'm going to answer many of those questions, if I believe one of the vice presidents here can give you a more thorough answer, I'm going to call on them so that you get the most up-to-date and accurate information. So Dr. Nancy Bernardi.
And I'm going to call on my Associate Vice President Larry Seebeck or Terry Weigel, whichever one's here. Larry? Okay, very good.
Yes, she will go use your...
No, Larry, just come up to the mic.
Hello, how are you? Larry Seebeck from Student Affairs. Yes, you will be able to use your $9 shop dollars as well as your meal plans at the food truck. It will be located, I'm looking at Chris, at the Zorski parking lot. It's mobile, so at times, you know, maybe a football game or a baseball game or something like that, we can move it and have other locations on and off campus for your dining pleasure.
Okay, great, thank you. And does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, next question. I see someone else coming up to the mic.
I've heard that our tuition is being raised by about 3%. Is that going to be like a trend to go towards the deficit, or are we looking to lower that?
The first thing with the tuition is not set here at California University of Pennsylvania. It is set by the state system of higher ed. And so they're still working on that now, and wherever those increases are, then not only California, but the remaining 13 state schools will have that increase. But always, we are trying to keep those costs at a minimum. And if you remember last year, when we had an increase, what we did here at the university, the administration, we understand how important keeping costs low are, how important that is to our students, that we were able to reduce some other costs so that you only incurred a $1 increase for the fall semester and one for the spring. Not sure if we can do something like that this coming year, but we are already looking to see if there's any way possible of that so that we can keep, you know, our costs as low as we possibly can. But you may end up having, you know, an increase. But we're really, you know, looking to see how we can keep it low or the same. Some other questions? Okay, here. All right, here comes Chelsea. All right. Everybody knows Chelsea.
Well, if you don't, you do now. Hi, everybody. I'm Chelsea Getzy. I had a question about scheduling. I asked at the campus talk how that was going to change in any way. I definitely noticed some changes for the better. I was wondering if there are any more changes that are going to be made to the scheduling process.
Okay, yes, and I'm going to call on Provost Dr. Barnhart to address that question.
And I think I have Dr. Engstrom here as well. Are you here, Dan? Maybe not. Okay, well, I can do it with that. Yeah, I hope you've seen some positive changes in the scheduling process. I know we worked diligently in the fall to address the folks like on the needs list to try to get you the classes you needed for spring. And I think it's borne out when I look at the average number of credits scheduled. Usually in the early part of the registration process, it's not up to around 15. And we always aim to try to get it around 15 on the average number of credits for everybody at the university. And we saw that as the registration period progressed, then we did inch up to and ended up around 14.98, which was kind of our target. So I think the process worked. You heard President Jones also remark about we are dedicated to trying to have the courses offered that you need so that you can graduate in the most efficient manner possible. Surely our goal is for everyone to graduate within 4 years. We know that doesn't always happen. But we do want to make the opportunity there so that the courses are available when you can get them. We're also looking right now at, and I think some of you may have been contacted by Dr. Amstrom's office in terms of a survey, because we're looking at the common hour, right? Does common hour at 11 o'clock make sense? You know, I think 11 o'clock on Tuesday and Thursday is a prime time when many students would like to have class. If I was a commuter driving in, I might want to have class, 8 to 9:30, 9:30, 11 to 12:30, and fill up my schedule. So we've been looking and asking folks and talking to faculty and talking to students and talking to staff about, is 11 o'clock for the common hour the best time, or is there a better time? Or do we need common hour? So we're kicking these things around, and we certainly ask for input. So please, I'm readily accessible by email. If you have some thoughts on common hour, I'd sure like to hear from you. How's that, Chelsea?
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Some other questions? And I know after the fall convocation, and I've had conversation with your president, Alexander Brooks, and there were mixed reviews. And what I mean by that, she said some students wanted the state of the university address, and some students love the idea of the questions. So what we have done this time, we have given you both. So you received the same university address as the faculty and the staff did, and now there are the opportunities for you to ask all the questions that you have. We will do our very best to answer those, and if there's a question we don't have the answer to at this time, we will get that answer back to you.
I have one more quick question. What kind of changes are we looking to see with the Student Center? Because I've heard a rumor we're getting a fast food restaurant. I just wanted to see what actually we were getting instead of.
Hey, don't you just love all those rumors?
I know. I heard we were getting a McDonald's, and I'm like, yes.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to give the
I get that question again. At this point, there are no corporate fast food restaurants slated to go into the Student Center at this time. That doesn't mean that that couldn't change in the future. Our recent surveys and focus groups with the students have indicated, and we have a lot of students out of the residence hall as well as some commuters, have said that they want changing operations. Let me give you an example. If you had a McDonald's here today, we have a lot of students that 3 or 4 years from now would say, I don't want McDonald's tomorrow. So we're looking to change operations. You'll see that this past year, physical plant renovated the student center, the coffee shop. That was done in-house. We were able to change those operations each and every semester if we need to, and not be tied to a corporate model. So, we're still looking at those options, but at this time, I want to tell you, no, there will not be a national branded concept.
Okay, here's a question up here. There.
Hi, how are you doing, President Jones?
How are you?
I'm doing well. At a meeting held, I think last year in July, it was discussed that we would no longer do student copying, which included the personal printing and copying done through the University Center. And that decision was made that we would perform any personal work in regards to that matter. So what I found through doing some research is that
Keep the microphone close to your face, to your mouth.
the quality of print that students rely on was not able to be met for their needs in different clubs for flyers for sororities to attract the top talent which they needed, portfolios for students in their individual classes, and we want to keep the business in CalU. The letter that I have states that the fact for doing this kind of work in the University Copy Center would take constructed business away from the local community businesses, and it would be able to open our university to UBIT regulations and right-to-know requests for the type of work being done outside of the core mission of the university. So I would like to know what type of changes could be made to bring this back.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly where all that information is coming from, so I'm going to refer to Vice President Bob Thorne to address this one, and he's the Vice President for Administration and Finance, and that falls under his division.
Thank you. In regards to private printing on our campus, we are currently working with a committee of individuals to evaluate our copy center and determine exactly how we might use that facility. In terms of the personal issues, he addressed the UBIT, which is unrelated business income tax, which is what that stands for, and that's a tax that we have to be very careful in how we provide services here so that we don't have tax-related liabilities to the university. But we are looking at other ways to provide personal copying issues here on our campus, and we do have a committee that's been formed and has been meeting regularly to assess that type of service for our campus. Does that answer your question? Sure. How about I stand over here and let you answer my question?
This is good, I love it.
So I conducted informational interviews with the students who work in the copy center, and the interns there answer switchboards, and I found that they would have enough time to do the individual work while still meeting the needs of Calvin first. I went to the Copycat Center, and they don't offer the same abilities that the high quality printing could be done for the that could be done for Calvin printing, or could be done for students at the Calvin printing services. And when I first arrived here at my freshman orientation, the message in that theme was to give back as you became an alumni. So I met a gentleman who had graduated, and he was an alumni of California University. He was going to have a wedding, and he wasn't able, he came back to the printing service to have his invitation sent out and done here, but he wasn't able to have that done because of the procedures that we now have in place. So I would like to know, how fast do you think any effective change will go when you're conducting your meetings?
That's a good question. And we have been discussing the use of the University Copy Center for really since fall semester, but we have a committee made up of individuals who are have a lot of experience in the business world. Steve Whitehead, who's our associate provost, is on that committee along with Roseanne Pandrock, who's over the Copy Center, as well as some other staff members here at the university to assess the use of the Copy Center. And again, I have to go back to the UBIT issue because that does create a tax liability issue for us from the system office, and so we have to be very careful what private types of enterprises we have here on campus from that perspective. But we are sensitive to those concerns, and this committee, I think, will come back with some good recommendations on how we might answer your needs.
Are you taxed if the student is paying out of pocket? There's no
Yeah. The question is, are we taxed if the student pays out of pocket? No, but it raises concern about what type of revenues that we're generating here that could become taxable. Okay.
Other questions? These are excellent questions that you all are asking, and I welcome the questions, so the same as the vice presidents do. And I hope that when we schedule the campus talk later on this semester, that you will share with your friends and classmates that they should come and attend and get answers to their questions. These are all excellent questions. It cuts down on the rumor mills because you can get great information here, and your student government president, Alexandra Brooks, is always making sure of that. And she has meetings with me as well, so she's carrying forward a lot of the concerns and issues that you all have, making this process a better one for all of you. And it's great attendance here today, and next time let's see if we can't double it. Okay, there's a question back there.
I was just wondering why Sycamore Bistro doesn't accept our meal plans. They only accept dine and shop dollars.
Okay. All right, I see Larry Seaback asking for the microphone again. He's a popular individual here today.
Sycamore Bistro was never designed to handle the capacity of the meal plan option. It's a place where we're more of a grab and go, and some made the order options for faculty, staff, students, and commuter students. You'll notice that all of our meal plan options are available in the student center actually where the commuter services area is located. So we needed a place where it wouldn't be overwhelmed by the meal plan users, okay? But, like we did say, the food truck will have that option available, okay? It just, the space is not large enough production-wise to handle the meal plans.
There's a hand there.
I know that you already cut the cost of parking passes, but is there any way that you're gonna cut them again, because it is really expensive, and even if you have a parking pass and you like forget to put it up again after a police officer tells you to take it down, you get a ticket.
We have three individuals here who may address that, but I'm going to start first with Vice President Bob Thorne, because he's over Administration and Finance, and he can determine if anyone else besides him needs to address that.
I tried. Thanks.
He gets to have fun today, too.
About as popular as Larry is when it comes to parking and food-related issues. Parking has been quite an involvement here on our campus for the past 3 or 4 years, and we moved from really not a managed parking system, but a managed parking system with assigned parking lots, with gating systems, a parking garage, improved lighting, emergency phones and such. And all those things, you know, cost the university about $20 million. And so some of the bonds that you saw on the previous charts are part of the costs associated with those types of improvements so we can provide safe parking areas for our students. So there is a cost associated with it. So I just want to give you a kind of a snapshot of, you know, why we have parking fees. And it's part of an auxiliary, as President Jones mentioned, the end users have to be responsible for the costs associated with retiring that debt associated with those expenses. But since we started our paid parking system, we've been slowly reducing the price of our parking over time. So every year we have been reducing that rate. I can tell you this, we have no plans to increase the parking rates for this upcoming next year. And that was to be actually a scheduled increase, but we decided that we definitely will not be increasing our parking rates so that we can keep it as low as possible. And we are always looking at ways that we can possibly reduce that fee down even further. We reduced it by $100 last year for a student in a Tier 2 parking area. So, you know, I think we are doing the best we can to try to reduce that cost as much as we can for you. And we went from what was originally planned back in 2008-09, that fee was supposed to be around $777, and we're down to about $250. So we've tried to bring that cost down as far as we possibly can, but yet preserve enough of that fee to at least cover the debt service associated with those expenses. And let me just mention one other thing that President Jones mentioned about fees, because that does occur in my area in terms of implementation. We have already made a decision not to increase, you know, our room and board for next year. So we are keeping those rates totally flat. And so we are very sensitive to price. And those are fees that are controlled locally, and we have made a commitment not to increase those fees for next year as well. There's a question way in the back. There's a mic back here. No, just one. Sorry, you're the roving.
My name is Jamal Cornish, and I was wondering, are you guys taking steps to help people stay in school if they have a financial problem? Because personally, I've ran into issues, and I know other people have too, and I was never told that, like, okay, we're not just going to help you, but I don't really get a lot of advice or, you know, like, I don't get a lot of guidance to help me, you know, get other money from different places.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to make a couple comments about that. And then again, I'm going to go back to the second, or most popular person addressing some of the questions. And that's the Bob Thorne, that's in this area. But let me say this. The one thing that we are trying to do is to keep our costs affordable for our students. We have some things in place, you know, and some payment plans are in place. But then again, while we want to do some of this, we always have to make sure that we are following the regulations that are in place. We don't want to have students incur debt that they won't be able to continue paying, because as soon as a student drops out of semester, your debt becomes, or those payments become due. So we don't want to be the one who's helping you to incur debt if you can't afford that, but we have some things in place, and I'm gonna have Vice President Thorne go into a little more detail about that, because we understand that. That's an excellent question, and I'm so glad that you're bringing that up, because we truly are concerned about our students, because when we admit you to this university, our goal, as well as your goal, is to see you be able to graduate from the university in 4 years or 5 years, and some it may take the 6 years. Some may need to stop out to get funds to return, but we are seriously interested in helping you with that. He's going to talk about more specifics because the Bursar's area reports under his division.
President Jones did a great job in talking, giving you the overview of what our commitment is here. We have really two offices that can really help you with your concerns about your financial challenges. One is the financial aid office. I know Jeff Drew was here. I saw him. If he would just stand, Jeff, and he's a critical person in his office, and Jill Fernandez, who is the director, if she's here, no, Jill's here. Okay. They are really the first point of contact if you have concerns about financial challenges that you're facing, so that we can determine whether you have received the maximum financial aid eligibility that you're entitled to receive under the federal and state guidelines, as well as determine if there's any other institutional funds that you might be eligible, to qualify for. In addition, in our bursar's office, we have a number of payment plan options. This past year, we offered for the first time a 5-pay payment plan per semester. Before, the most that you could do was 4-pay. So we have been trying to stretch the payments over a longer period of time as well for our students. But those are the two offices that really can provide assistance with you, for you in regards to financial aid eligibility or helping you manage those payments. In addition, scholarships are managed through the financial aid office, and those criteria are listed on our website. We have about 300 named scholarships that are managed through our foundation office, and I would encourage you to check those as well as options. But we obviously are here to try to assist you as much as we can on a daily basis. That office and both offices really work with students to try to help you. But unfortunately, we're also limited to what we can do. I mean, if you've received the maximum financial aid and the maximum institutional assistance, then that's when we try to work with you on the payment side and use one of our various payment options. Okay?
Okay, there's some questions in the back there, Larry. And all of you are asking questions and others want to ask, so this is very good. So I thank you very much for your questions.
Hello, my name is Charlene Princess. I'm a sophomore here. About the 300 scholarships that's listed, I've applied to those before, and I know many other students have. What are we doing about getting back to students, whether you have been denied, whether it's been reached, whether you've got, well, of course you would know if you've gotten it, but when I've applied, I haven't been told whether they've been received, whether they've been reviewed, or whether they've been denied. So what are we doing about that? And many other students, this has happened to them as well.
That's an excellent question. And I'm going to make a couple of comments, and then again, that's an area that reports to Vice President Thorne, Administration and Finance. You're right. We do an excellent job of letting the students know who's been awarded the scholarships. I'm not really sure what that follow-up is to the students who applied and didn't get that. And you should have an answer, because that may help you determine whether you can be here or not. And this is truly a continuous improvement piece. If we haven't been doing that well, like you bring that up, you're making us take a look at how we can better serve you as the students here. So that's an excellent question. And VP Thorne, you want to address that and let us know if that is happening. If not, what can we do to make it happen?
Okay. Before I was the vice president, I was the director of financial aid here, so for almost 17 years. So I know a little bit about financial aid, but I think that's a great question. I'm going to defer that question, though, to Jeff DeRubo, because I haven't been in financial aid for the past almost 4 years now. And he can talk a little bit about that process, but I can tell you that that's a process where if we can improve, we definitely are working, and each year we've improved that process, both in the application process, notification process. So I'll just let That's Bruce. This is Jeff. Talk a little bit about that process and how we notify students.
Typically, we don't do a whole lot of notification other than to the students that have received the awards. Most of those 300 scholarships that Mr. Thorne had mentioned don't require separate applications or anything extra on the student's part to be eligible. The vast majority of those awards are based on academic performance and financial need. We run a series of reports that let us know, so you're all considered equally for those awards. So we don't look at this student, that student. It's based on GPA, your financial need, and we basically select the students at the tops of those lists and work our way down until we run out of money. We can look at implementing for those students that may have specifically applied for specific awards. We can look at definitely for a notification process back to you that we've received your application. We expect to make an award by such and such a date, and we'll notify you if you've received that award or not. That's definitely something that we can consider doing.
Yes, thank you. There's a question in the back there. And we'll take, you know what, we'll take, if there are 3 more questions, we'll take those, and if there are some really pressing ones, we'll do that as well. But I see some students needing to leave, and that's fine. If you need to leave, please do so. And then there's always going to be those students who are going to, stay until it ends. And so I want to be cognizant of your time as well. So we'll do 3 questions, and then we'll find out if we need to stay and take additional ones.
Hi, my name is Matt Zumba. I'm a sophomore here. I was just wondering if the Convocation Center had any upcoming events.
Yes, and I'm going to call on someone to address that question. And if you've seen Mr. Ron Hall running to that microphone, so he has an opportunity to address that.
We were just talking about that. I'll pay you your $5 later. Actually, as you all know, we have the Harlem Globetrotters coming up on the 7th of March, next Thursday. We've got a good crowd so far. It's over 1,000 that will be coming here on that date, so it will be a good evening. April 11th, you've seen some information posted about it's a Christian rock band called Newsboys. They will be bringing some folks as well. And,
like that response, that was great.
Absolutely. And we've just actually been able to officially announce today that 2 days after the Newsboys concerts, Bob Dylan will be coming on April the 13th. So I know he's a generational rocker, but that is big news for us as well to be able to have him come to campus. So we're very excited about the opportunity to have Bob Dylan. Incidentally, on the 12th, between those 2 concerts, we will be having that hip-hop conference, and in the Convocation Center, we'll be having the final session. Those of you who are familiar with Stephen A. Smith or ESPN fame, I believe he'll be here, and I know that, I cannot speak to it, but I know that they're trying to get some other folks as well, big names to that. On the 14th, that's a Sunday, so it's a 4-day spread. I know that the Bodybuilding Club will be having a bodybuilding competition on the 14th of April as well. So that's going to be a power weekend in April. We're very excited about that. And there will be more big events to come as we're working on them.
Okay, and Ron Paul is the Managing Director of Corporate Initiatives here, and the Convocation Center falls under him. So we're trying to get entertainment here sometimes, but this is not the sole purpose of the Convocation Center. But I'm very pleased to hear you answer that, to ask that question, and very pleased that Ron Paul is here to be able to share with you some of the events that will be happening in the Convocation Center. And remember, it's just the first year for that, and each year we're going to begin to offer more programming in this wonderful facility here. Any other questions? Okay, here's a question.
I guess I'm taking it from here, Larry. Is that?
How you doing this morning?
Well,
I had 2 questions. You said that the debt was $4.2 million and it was cut down to 2.
the deficit, yes.
The deficit. I wanted to know what steps are being taken to lower that, and also for our student athletes, budget cuts and scholarships are being taken away from track and field athletes. I also like to know what's going on with that as well.
Okay, another excellent question. So that's a two-parter, so let me start with the first part. You know, at the beginning of this academic year, in September, the deficit was even higher than the 4.2. But before I had the faculty staff convocation and the student convocation in the fall, the administration, we did a number of low-hanging fruit cuts to the budget. So we cut and eliminated those things that may be nice to have, but we didn't feel was contributing to the core mission of the university. So we eliminated those. Then we were able to, throughout the year, Bob Thorne with his staff looked at more areas to cut, brought that to cabinet with the vice presidents. We took a look and we made even more difficult kinds of cuts to the budget. And you heard me say, while not affecting the academic, the core mission of the university or services to our students. And that's where we're now at that $2.9 million deficit. So we have some further cutting. The one thing we don't want to do is to affect our students. So I'm glad you bring up about athletics. I support athletics. I may not be, you know, the best athletic person. When I was young and growing up, I wasn't always picked first on the team, second or even third. But doesn't mean anything. But I did roll a perfect 300 score bowling, you know. And I did that many years ago. That's looking to make your question. And I still am on record for the longest drive because when I was golfing in Cedar Brook, one of my balls got off the golf course, hooked the truck, and it's probably somewhere in Iowa now. So I have that. Now, back to the more serious part. So the serious part of this. You all are student athletes here. And you all have great academic records here. We want you to be here not only as that athlete, but that student in the classroom. And I don't want to cut scholarships from our student athletes. We want to be able to continue doing all of that. And as we're looking at budget cuts, we're not wanting to do that. You have your vice president, Dr. Nancy Pinardi, who is student affairs, and you have Karen Herpy, who's athletic director, and all of your coaches who are saying they want to continue to recruit the great athletes, the youth, and others are here. So we don't want to touch that piece. Now, do we need to look to see how we can continue that? Because in the past, it was getting a little out of whack. So we can't change it overnight. So don't pay attention to rumors. You know, if we're going to keep getting information to you about that, because if you came here on scholarship, we're not taking that away from you. Oh, that'd be a kiss of death, you know. So we don't want to do that. But you're going to hear rumors because when every vice presidential area, from student affairs to the provost office, everyone had to look at the budgets in their areas and come in with some cost-cutting measures. Some of those things were accepted and some of those things weren't. You know, so sometimes when you're having those discussions, and then those vice presidents need to go back to their staffs and ask some questions for us to make great decisions in cabinet, it has a potential of the rumor mill. So don't pay attention to the rumor mill. We'll continue to give you the facts. And so that's an excellent question that you have. I'm not sure if I fully answered that, but we love our student athletes. You all are student athletes, and we are very proud of you. And we want to keep you here, and we want you to graduate. Okay? Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yes, there's another question back there. And then that will be the third one. It's 5 after, and you know what? You all are giving up your lunchtime to be here, and I love this. And it's always better to leave to end the meeting when you still have people in the room to talk with. So we'll take, so I'll take one more question, and then those questions that you may not get answered, guess what? Campus Talk is coming soon. Come back, bring more questions, bring more of your classmates with you. So where is that question in the back? Okay.
I wanted to know, what are we doing about transportation to Pittsburgh? It's becoming an exceedingly problem, especially for students that live far away. Like, I'm from Philadelphia, so I only have certain times that I have to hope the bus is scheduled to come in Pittsburgh so I can catch commuter A and the Valley too, and that can be over a 2-hour trip. And sometimes the buses don't correlate with each other. so commuter A could come into Charlevoix, but Valley 2 may have stopped at 2 o'clock, especially on the weekends, which are the best times to come if you had to go home for a weekend emergency. So I was wondering, what are we doing about that? A student last night from Philadelphia, she was stuck in Pittsburgh because evidently the buses were over, but we had a friend that could come get her, but it was almost midnight when, he could come and get her. So, and that's happened many times before to me, maybe stuck in a town or in Pittsburgh as well.
Thank you for bringing that question up. And there's Larry Seebeck. Nancy Bernardi is the Vice President for that area, so I don't know if Nancy, you want to take that, or who do you want? Chris, well, there you go. We've got the parking czar himself here, Chris Johnson. Okay, so Chris.
I want to make a distinction. Our Vulcan Flyers are obviously on-campus service. Mid-Mon Valley is a public provider. They do provide public service for the community as well as students here on campus. They are under severe cutbacks at the state with subsidies. I know they've done some route restructuring. I know we've worked hard to kind of preserve the existing service that they have with the commuter A, as well as the Cal commuter as well, and to try to strengthen those connections. We continue to talk with them, and I'd be more than happy to know if there's better times that we can make those connections, that we can take that to Mid-Mon Valley so that they can get better information coming from our student body in a representative way so that we can make those connections a lot better. We continue to try to counsel students who do need assistance in navigating the Mid-Mon Valley schedule and how to make those connections to Amtrak, Greyhound, and other locations in Pittsburgh. It's not always easy, and I can tell you that the area as a whole doesn't have the best in public transportation service, and if you come from Philadelphia, you're used to SEPTA, and that may not happen here. But we can do a better job of coordinating with our public provider, giving them the kind of information that they need to make schedules a little bit better, hopefully to serve our students better. So I'd be more than happy to get an idea of when is the best times, and if we can take that to Mid-Mon Valley. I can't guarantee anything, but I'd certainly open a dialogue with them. Okay?
Okay. And before I turn this back over to Alexander Brooks, I just want to make a couple final comments here. One, again, to thank you all for being here. This was a wonderful turnout of students. You had excellent questions. I thank you for those questions. And as I said earlier, that I wanted to also have the vice presidents here to answer questions, to give you more in-depth information about a particular area. While I know a lot of it, those are their areas, and so they're able to address and give you more information about that. And I wanted to make sure everyone was here to address the questions that you all have. And hopefully we've met that need of yours to have answers to your questions. So continue the questions. I love this. I mean, who wouldn't like the opportunity to meet and talk with their students to find out what kinds of concerns that you all have here. And also, if you have some concerns that weren't addressed here today, there's other ways with here's Chris Kendall here. Is Chris still here? Okay, Chris, I'm going to let Chris say something here because she likes, to share with you where you can send information about your questions, and we try to get back to you on that. So we want to continue doing that, and I'll let Chris make the comment, then I'm going to turn it over to Alexander, and Alexander, I'm going to ask you, how do we do today? How did the team do here today? Okay, Chris.
Hi, I'm Director of Public Relations and Communications for the university, and I kind of serve as a conduit for getting questions to the people who have answers. So you can find my contact information on the website. It's my last name, kindle@calu.edu. If you've got a question and you want to send it my way, I'm the person who sends out the communication every other week from the president. I'm the person who's been harassing you with the one-click for the student survey or the campus climate survey, so it's easy to find where I'm at. Send me your question. I'll see that it gets to the right person, and I'll follow up to make sure that you're getting an answer.
Good, thank you. Alexander?
Okay, I first want to thank all the students for attending today. Most of them have left for lunch by now, but I especially want to thank President Jones and her administration for taking the time today to be with us and answering our questions. This does end our convocation, and thank you for attending.